Coming up next, from San Fran Freak Show, the Savage Nation, from Talk 910 KNEW.
Fresh and original every day. Live and real. On the air, online, on demand. Armstrong and Getty. Weekday morning 6 to 10. Talk 910 KNEW.
Warning. The Michael Savage Show contains adult language, adult content, psychological nudity. Listener discretion is advised.
Now, America's most exciting radio talk show, The Savage Nation. Here is Michael Savage.
Let's look at michaelsavage.com. Look what's on here now. From WorldNet Daily. Michael Savage, Lockerbie, and Humane Considerations. You ought to read that one. It's by Joe Farah. We believe Barack Obama signed off on the Lockerbie bombers. We're pretty sure because I know from the news, we know that the Scots consulted with Obama's Attorney General, Eric Holder. And Eric Holder, as you know, has a soft spot for terrorists to begin with. After all, it was Eric Holder, our Attorney General, who released the Puerto Rican terrorists when he worked for Clinton. So now he approved the release of Al-Maghiri, the Lockerbie bomber. There's another great article, Panetta vilified by liberal contempt by Rich Lowry, the New York Post. Don't miss it. Also on michaelsavage.com, U.S. sends Gitmo jihadist home to a family in Kabul. That's right. One of them, who was accused of throwing a grenade that injured 2 U.S. soldiers and their interpreter in Kabul in 2002, has been sent home to his family for compassionate reasons. Wow, that Obama's a real compassionate guy. Dictator Castro says racist right-wingers are the ones who are stopping Obama's progress. Had we only known. Ex-Hillary finance chief charged with bank fraud. Shocked, are you? ADHD drug abuse rampant among teens, study shows. Here's another one on michaelsavage.com. You're not going to believe it. You're not going to believe what I'm telling you. A member of the AFL-CIO, a union boss, in other words, has been named by Obama to be chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. I'm not making this up. Let me repeat it. A union boss, first time in history, named chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. Is this the change that you asked for? Now you've got to listen to this. Chuck Schumer claiming there will be socialized medicine by hook or by crook, mostly by crooks. Listen.
Both the president, Leader Reid, have said we're going to make every effort to come up with a bipartisan bill. And so you have 3 Democratic senators, Max Baucus, Kent Conrad, Jeff Bingaman, negotiating with the Republicans. And the deadline keeps being pushed back. You know, it was June 15th, June 30th, July 15th, August 1st. We're going to go every effort to get a bipartisan bill. But if not, we're making preparations to how to get this done without it.
Schumer and his gang will push it through. Republicans or no Republicans, the people be damned. And here he acts like government-run health care is completely benevolent.
If you look at what the House has come up with, there's a public option. It's the kind that some of us proposed early on, a level playing field option. Let's lay this out. First, it's an option. In other words, in New York State, we have public colleges and private colleges. No one's forced to go to either, but you get your choice. The fact that there's competition between them makes it better. It is not a mandate, as some are falsely and deliberately falsely saying it is just an option.
Schumer, why don't you just see if you can sell some Florida swampland instead? You'll stand a better chance than you will selling Obamacare. Just so happens that Madeline Halfbright was on TV today. Andrea Mitchell, her good buddy, was interviewing her and said she was a hero in North Korea. You're not going to believe this.
Did anyone reach out to you, or were you carrying any messages in any way? Did you have any contacts at all? Because you had been to Pyongyang, and you're somewhat of a hero there, having gone in 2000 and warmed up relations before the Bush administration changed direction.
Well, I don't know if hero, but I certainly was there at a very interesting time for good meetings. No, this was not the kind of a occasion where this kind of a meeting would have taken place. The North Korean delegation administration, in fact, left just after they saw President Lee, and so we had no contact with them, and I was not carrying any messages.
That is great. The servant of dictators continues to be toasted by the media. Then Halfbright went on to defend the British over the Lockerbie outrage.
I think we have to take the British and the Scots at their word that there were no deals. The issue itself is most unfortunate because so many Americans and other nationals died in that terrible, terrible accident. So my heart goes out to the Lockerbie families. Totally sickening. Her heart goes out? Did it go out to the North Koreans who were starving as you were eating brisket with Kim Jong-il? Madam Halfbright. This is a great story since I'm a dog lover, and I once had a border collie, which was an amazing dog, Bandit. I don't want to tell you what happened to it because I don't know. I remember I moved to Long Island, and he had been a California dog who used to run freely over the valleys. He'd escape every yard Bandit was ever in. The kids loved him. This dog was so wonderful, Bandit. And no matter what we put him in, he could jump the gate. And he always used to run across the valley and meet up with a girl dog. He was so smart, he would free her from her backyard. I don't know how he did it. And they'd go running around, I swear to God, in the valleys together. So he grew up like that. Then I had to move back to New York for a couple of years, and I lived on Long Island. That's not to be confused with Long Island. I lived on Long Island. And there are long guys there. And the dog was chained in the front of the house, and I had to go off to work. I came home, there was a chain and no dog. And my worst fear is probably that some animals took the Bandit and used it in some terrible torture. That's the worst thing. That I don't even want to think about it. But this dog was smart and tough. He once fought a Rottweiler in the neighborhood and scared the Rottweiler. The Rottweiler didn't run away, but the Rottweiler backed down. I don't know how he did it. He did. So the dogs are geniuses. They're apparently the collies are the smartest of the breeds, or poodles, I don't know. But there's a new study out of Germany. It has found that a border collie named Rico now understands more than 200 words and can learn new ones as quickly as many children. And so they say that's good news for those of us who talk to our dogs. Now, if this dog has a vocabulary of 200 words, that means he has a larger vocabulary than Tony Soprano and all of the rap artists in America put together. They seem to be stuck on one letter, words that begin with an F. I don't know why, but they make a lot of money at it. But Rico understands more than 200 words. And that's interesting. So the researchers have proven that people who talk to their dogs are cutting-edge communicators, not just a bunch of eccentrics. Now, the researchers found that Rico knows the names of dozens of play toys and can find the one called for by his owner. And this dog has a vocabulary size about the same as apes, dolphins, and parrots, trained to understand words. But as I say, his vocabulary at 200 words is definitely larger than those of all of the Goombas on The Sopranos when you add it up. But it's a very popular show, and people make millions of dollars an episode for speaking as few words as possible. So it just shows you that the more words you know doesn't mean that you make more money. In fact, in America today, the less words you know, you make more money. In fact, those who know fewer words make more money. That goes for politicians who speak in sound bites, and that goes for actors who speak in approximately 50 to 60 words maximum. And that, of course, goes for rap artists who have a vocabulary of about 40 words, and the Sopranos who have a vocabulary of about 73 words. So the old adage of, literacy may be gone with the wind. Maybe it's an endangered thing to do, is teach your children a lot of words. Maybe you shouldn't teach your children a lot of words. Have them watch Howard Sterno's show, and to abuse the mentally ill. They'll get very far in the world that they're growing up in. The researchers put several known toys in a room, along with one that Rico the dog had not seen before. From a different room, Rico the dog's owner asked him to fetch a toy, using a name for the toy the dog had never heard. The border collie was able to go into the room with the toys and 7 times out of 10 bring back the one he had not seen before. The dog seemingly understood that because he knew the names of all the other toys. He figured the new one must be the one with the unfamiliar name. So it just shows you 200 words now. And that means that if you're talking to your dog, you really do have man's best friend. Man's best friend. This is the Savage Nation. Be here or be nowhere.
Savage.
The Wall Street Journal this morning, weekdays 5 to 6 a.m. on Talk 910 KNEW.